Hi, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about inheritance. Let's jump into it. Okay. So, as usual, please make sure that you are doing the filling out the attendance form and join the Discord if you haven't already. All right. So, today I'm going to try to make this quick, so I'll speak quickly and act quickly. But today I want to start us off by talking about inheritance. All right. We are working in Java, which is an object-oriented programming language that has a few core principles. One of them, which is inheritance, which, the purpose of this is just to make our lives as programmers easier. Let's stop prefacing and start just getting into it. All right. So let's just talk about what we have here already. In your main.java file, I already have these three lines set up for you. Human h1 is equal to a new human, Kurt Connors. His first name, get last name, get last name. And if you run it, it should eventually tell you what's going on. His first name is Kurt, his last name is Connors. All right. Now that's coming out of this class that I've again already defined for you. Public class human has two member variables, first name and last name. A default constructor that sets the first name to Jane and the last name to Doe. A two-parameter constructor that accepts, two string parameters, fn and ln, and whatever arguments you provide for those sets those to the first and last name. Uh, Accessors and mutators for first and last name, and that's it. Very simple. And this is a good general class. All right. And it's a pretty decent one to write. But uh, let's say, for example, we're writing a program for a university, right? And they want to have a program that manages all of the people that are at the university, including students, teachers, non-teaching faculty members, administrators, etc. All right. What they might want you to do is write different classes for each type of user or each type of person that would attend the school. And what you could do is write out a full student class and a full teacher class and a full administrator class, and that would work. That would work. But you're going to end up having a lot of repetition because, for example, all of those classes would probably need some way of recording the first and last name of the individual, right? And some of them also might, like, maybe all of them have a separate ID number. And so you might want to add, have that in all of those classes. And it's a bit wasteful to do that for every single class when we could just implement Java's inheritance. All right. Now let's do an example of that here. All right. I'm going to create a new tab. I'm going to rename this new file student.java. Yeah, you can't get away from it. All right. And we're going to implement inheritance. Now, I'm just going to give you a bit of notes. You can pause the video here and just get this for yourselves. All right. Uh, so what we're going to be doing is with inheritance, you have a parent class or a superclass and a child class or a subclass. And essentially, you can have the subclass inherit all or some of the parent's class properties. And then, add on unique properties that, specializes that new class. All right. In our example, in the one that we're doing here, we're going to write a student class that is a subclass of human, and human is going to be the the superclass of student. And the way we write this is by saying public class student, like we usually do, but then say that it extends human. What this is saying is that the student class will inherit all the properties of human and extend it, as in add more information, make it more specialized for whatever task that we are trying to get this class to perform. All right. One more tinier set of notes, and then I promise we'll be done with that. So since student is a subclass of the human class, it inherits all their member variables and member methods. All right. Therefore, without any extra writing, we already have in this student class, by just stating extends human, we already have all of this information in the body. You don't see it because it just takes it from this file. But all of that information is now already in our student class. All right. So let's just continue. For member variables, I don't need to add, you know, string first name, string last name, but I can just add the new member variables, if any, that I want to add to my student class. So for example, I might say, well, my students are not only have a first name and a last name, but they also have an ID number that it is important to know. And my students as well have a GPA that I want to keep track of. And so those can be the additional member variables that you want in your student class. Okay. Now for the constructor, all right, we'll do the default constructor first, which I'll call it public student. Now with the constructors and any of the other members that are referring to the human class's member variables, if we want to interact with that, we have to use the methods that the human class gives us uh, to build these things. So for example, for default, we want to set the first name and last name to, Jane and Doe, let's say, for example. And so the constructor is unique here, and when you want to call the constructor for a super class, all you have to do is use the super method. All right, what this will do is it constructs a human object. All right, so it says, all right, for this student, make sure that it has the first name Jane and the last name Doe, because this is the, since this has no parameters right here, since this has no parameters, this is calling the default constructor of the human class. Okay, and then we can just continue this function by addressing our member variables in this student class. So I could say ID, we can say by default that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the GPA we can set to 4.0. All right, that's a default constructor. Similarly, if I wanted to have a parameterized constructor, I'm going to call it the 3 string 1 double parameter constructor. And this again will say public student, but now we'll say give it 3 parameters: string fn, string ln, string I for the ID, and double G for the GPA. And so now again, we want to use these fn and ln parameters for our super classes member variable. So we need to call the super classes constructor using super. And now we have a 2-parameter constructor in the human class, right? That takes fn and ln as values and sets them to the first and last name. So I could just put here for super fn, comma, ln. All right. Then again, the ID, I can set that equal to I, and the GPA I can set equal to G. Okay. Now that we have this, we could also write the accessors and mutators. So let's do that quickly. Accessors, these are the get methods, if you recall. So this will be public string get ID, public string get GPA, and these should just return the ID and return the GPA. Pretty simple. And then the mutators, geez, I cannot spell. These are our set methods, public void set ID, public void set GPA, and these should just take parameters. So this will take a string parameter I, this will take a double parameter G, and this should say ID equals I and GPA equals G. Sorry for hopping up and down. That was just the way for me to do it quickest. All right, so pause here if this is what you need for the student class, but this is all we're going to get done there. And now, if we go into main.java, we can create a new student. Oh, let me just run this, make sure that nothing is broken because I mistyped. Aha. It says here, yes, because this is not a, sorry, this is not a string, this is a double. It's good. It's good I checked. We didn't want to go into things and make it weird. All right, cool. So this is all good. This is a nice complete student class. Let's jump into main.java and just very quickly test it out, and then we'll pause for today. So we'll say student s1 is equal to a new student. And let's see. You know what? I'm going to continue my Spider-Man nerdism since I already did Kurt Connors. Let's see. I'm going to give him the ID 19671984. And, oops, that should be a comma. And the GPA 4.0. I put an extra number in there. All right, so ID 19671984. All right, so this is just me nerding out. If anyone can tell me why this number is significant for Peter Parker, I'll give you 10 points extra credit or something. Or I don't know. We'll figure something out. This has been a weird couple of weeks anyway. All right, so we create this new student. Everything should be fine. If we run this, I shouldn't get an error. Everything should be copacetic. Excellent. And so now let's just display a few things. I'm just going to copy this, make my life easier. All right, change this to S1, 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 S1. So we're going to say we're going to get the first and last name of that student. And you'll see this should work, even though our student class does not have a get first name and get last name method. See, we don't have those here in the student class. It's inheriting that method from our superclass human. All right, let me just copy this and paste it again and just change these last two to get ID and get GPA. And you'll see also it can access its own member methods and do its own thing entirely. All right, so that's a very, very quick and reduced lesson on inheritance. We're going to be talking about that for a lot of this week, but this is a good place to stop, a good first part. If anything was confusing, please, look at the Discord down below, post a question in the help section or in period 2 or 4, depending on which period you're in. And yeah, I hope this wasn't too hard. Do the attendance and have a great day. Bye.